So the beginning of these financial aid consultations, and one could argue this is about closing the wounds 3 years down the line, nearly 4 now. What's expected? What are the families expecting?
Yes, a very good afternoon to you, Natasha. The meetings that started at around 10 o'clock this morning have finally concluded. Initially, they were expected to take around an hour, but we saw the meeting run into about 2.5 hours with the different parties, the lawyers for the injured miners, SERI that's representing the widows of the 34 men who died, as well as the lawyers for government, for the presidency, for the police, have a thrashing out in a roundtable setting and talk about their different positions. And we know that the lawyers for the injured miners are looking for compensation to the tune of 1 billion rand. And we did not get clarity from SERI in terms of how much compensation they're asking for their individual clients. And you'll recall that SERI is representing over 300 family members that were supported by those 37 miners that were killed by the police in that week of August 2012. So the meetings have concluded, and all the different legal parties came out and addressed the media to give us an indication that the talks went smoothly, they progressed, it was very informative on both sides. And now they're going to go back to their different parties that they represent and give feedback and an update of what exactly the different points were in this particular meeting. And they will be coming back again next month to have a consultative meeting and discuss what the way forward is once they've been briefed by the clients in terms of whether or not they're going to accept the settlement amount that's been tabled by the presidency, or they're going to push ahead with a court civil case.
And Nozintombi, going forward next month, do we know yet what will come out of that? This is the first consultation, so really the groundwork in going forward. But what are we expecting next?
Senior counsel Jeremy Gauntlet, who is representing the government, was very positive when he gave us feedback, and he said that the consultations are at an early stage, but they're hopeful that they'll be able to get to a position where they meet each other halfway. He says, however, that next month's consultative meeting will be a series in a number of other meetings that they're expected to have before they have some sort of final conclusion in terms of what ultimately the costs will be that government will be willing to pay in terms of compensation. But he was very clear to stress that government is looking to give compensation, financial compensation, to all those who have legal claims to what happened in Marikana. You'll remember there were 44 people who died in totality. Only 37 of those were represented today, and Jeremy Gauntlet, representing government, said he is more than willing to listen to any of those miners who were injured, or the family members who have legitimate claims from government, and he'd be willing to listen to any form of talks about what exactly settlement they're looking for.
And then Nozimtombi, interestingly enough, Dali Mpofu, the advocate in Gareth Cliff's case, which has just concluded in favor of Gareth Cliff, Mpofu now in these hearings, he'll be wanting a favorable outcome.
Yes, Mpofu will certainly be hoping he gets a 2 for 2 at this particular point. But I spoke to him before the meeting had begun, and he was quite excited about the fact that he had won that particular case. But he was quite reluctant to really give us an interview in terms of what exactly he's feeling, in terms of where exactly the next step is. But we do understand that Gareth Cliff will be having a press conference tomorrow. What we did see about an hour ago is Gareth Cliff coming out of Dali Mpofu's offices looking very triumphant. He was also singing and dancing with some of the demonstrators that were here earlier and showing his support for the Marikana support campaign group. So Dali Mpofu, who is representing the Marikana miners who were injured, who also successfully represented Gareth Cliff, will certainly be hoping that it's another victory for him at this particular roundtable. Natasha.
All right, Nozintombi, thank you very much for that update. Our reporter Nozintombi Miya, live from the Marikana consultations in Sandton.